And we have this AI component that really allows you to sort of customize the tool to fit what you as an individual agent needs based on your strengths and weaknesses, your tenure, your market, etc. Then we have sort of this combination of a successful resource for agents. So I think the AI component specifically is designed to customize the experience such that they get what they need when they need it in a very easy way.
Welcome back, everyone, to another online business briefing brought to you by smallcapvoice.com. And as always, I'm your host, Stuart Smith, where for over 27 years, we've been shining a spotlight on some of the smartest and freshest plays out there in the market today. And to that end, we're speaking once again about Mitesco. Mitesco is traded on the OTC under the ticker symbol MITI. And I say about because we're going to be joined today by professionals who are working on the RoboAgent platform. So these are people outside of the company. We wanted to get their perspective today. And we wanted to update the Mitesco investors on the development and rollout of RoboAgent, the MVP platform, and also the evolution of AI driven sales and marketing products within real estate today. So, RoboAgent, as you may or may not know through the videos we've done here at smallcapvoice.com and the press releases issued by the companies, helps realtors overcome execution challenges by streamlining daily tasks and improving sales growth. RoboAgent is an AI powered real estate productivity platform being developed to help agents and teams streamline lead follow up, improve response times, and drive higher conversion rates through automation and intelligent workflows. So, again, we want to highlight real world industry experience today. And so, to do that, I'm going to be joined in just a second by several professionals in and around the real estate market and sales industries. So, with that, let me get everybody on camera here this morning. Good morning, everyone. Frank, let's start with you. You're a vice president of US growth at EXP Realty. Frank, welcome to the show and thanks for making time for us.
Well, thank you, Stuart. Thank you so much for having me today, and I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. We're also joined by Kim Hughes. Kim is the owner of Kim Hughes and Company, located in East Texas for over 26 years. Howdy, neighbor. We're down in Austin, Texas for
Oh,
27
nice.
years. So you've been working with agents, whether that's a solo agent, a team of agents, a singular broker. Kim, welcome to the show and thanks. We look forward to getting your experience here as well.
Thank you. Look forward to it.
And then we've got Doug Lotierzo. Doug, you are the professional that is outside of the real estate market. That's why I had that inside my introduction. You're the president and owner of the Lotierzo Group. Doug, welcome to the show.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We've also been joined by Brian Valania. We've actually had an opportunity to speak with Brian several times in the past about Robo Agent through our interviews with Mitesco, again, ticker symbol MITI. So, Frank, let's start with you because you've had a front row seat with from the demo to the development of Robo Agent. What have your impressions been, and what are some of your experiences that you've been able to lend to the development of Robo Agent?
Yeah, I mean, loaded question. How much time do we have? A couple
Yeah,
hours?
hey, take all the
Yeah.
time you need.
So
30 seconds.
I think 30 seconds. Sure.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
No, I think as you move forward and you get into technology, just the whole industry is changing. It's changing at such a rapid pace right now. I think my colleagues would agree. It seems like there's a new headline coming out every single day. But at the end of the day, the core part of it is just people selling houses. And then how do we do it at a more efficient level? Back when I started 32 years ago, real estate agents had all the information. If you want to know what your house sold for, you had to call a real estate agent. If you want to know how much, what was on the market, you had to call a real estate agent. Now, fast forward, they have that information. I believe we're more in a service industry, and your level of service and how you deliver that is what separates the great ones, from the people who may not be here that long. So when I looked at Robo Agent and we look at the tools, how do we get agents to perform at their highest level? How do we provide the best service we can to the public? Because that's what it's all about. We're here to serve people. So everything I've contributed from my experience has been for two points. One, serving the public at the highest level. Two, how do we get more efficient in the way we do things? So we live in a microwave society. If you don't get the answer in 5 minutes, they call somebody else. If I don't get back to them, they're gonna call Ken pretty quickly. For me, it's how can we be systematic? How can we get things that you're servicing people the way they want to be serviced? Could be things as responses. We could have you could have bots responding to customers about scheduling. There's so many different things we can do from an efficiency perspective just to make the whole process so much cleaner, so much better.
Well, thank you for that. And I appreciate your real world experience. And we're going to get that from each of our guests here today. And Doug, we wanted to talk to you about the coaching and accountability component being developed within RoboAgent and the MVP platform, and why Mitesco believes the combination of AI plus coaching may be a meaningful differentiator for RoboAgent up against the competitors in the market. Doug, what can you tell us about your experience with RoboAgent and sort of what you've brought to the table by all of the years experience leading up to now?
Sure. Yeah. Thanks, Stuart. So I want to kind of start with just, I guess, the motivation for me personally, what got me so excited about this. And Frank, I'm not sure if you remember this, but one of the first times we met, you shared a very alarming statistic about real estate agents. And Frank, you can, rattle this off better than I can, but something like 80% or more of agents fail in their first year. That's a really high number. And what I'm learning and what I have learned is that there's a couple of reasons for that. There's no real roadmap to show people exactly what needs to be done to be successful, or they know what they need to do, but there's a lack of accountability. And most agents lack things like a sales process. They don't have a consistent approach to lead generation. They're not really trained how to think, right? They don't know how to manage their time. And if there is some sort of onboarding, there's not really any reinforcement. So I think the theme here is there's a lack of recurring access to best practices, and there's a lack of accountability to doing the things that it takes over a long period of time to be successful. What's beautiful about the platform that we're building here is that it kind of encompasses all of those things. So there's CRMs out there, there's technology out there, and there's also access to training and coaching, but there's nothing, at least that we've seen, that has both. And I think, one of the things, speaking of a microwave society, that we find with agents specifically is that they, if it's not quick, if it's not easy, if it's not seamless, they're not going to use it. So what we need to be able to do is give them the roadmap to success, give them the accountability that they need, and the tools that they need to be, sort of guided on a daily basis to be successful. And it has to be really easy. And I think that's where the AI component comes into this. So if we have all the coaching content, all of the skills and best practices for how to be a really good agent in one area, we have the reminders and the task management alongside of that, and we have this AI component that really allows you to sort of customize the tool to fit what you as an individual agent needs based on your strengths and weaknesses, your tenure, your market, et cetera. Then we have sort of this combination of a successful resource for agents. So I think the AI component specifically is designed to customize the experience such that they get what they need when they need it in a very easy way.
Well, thanks for that, Doug. Kim, let's ask you about this then. And again, in your introduction, I talked about how you work with the whole gamut of types of real estate agents, and you've been working with the test bed community on this robo agent development. And again, the MVP platform. Let's talk about the importance of the validity that comes from working with this test bed community on the efficacy of RoboAgent, and what is some of the insights that have been shared with you, and what have you been able to share as your insights with Mitesco and RoboAgent as it's developed?
Well, the interesting thing is that the agents that we have in this test bed are coming from different walks of real estate. One of them is a team leader, one is a buyer agent, one is a broker. So what we're doing with the test bed is bringing agents in that are not all the same. And they come from different areas of the country because that's where the markets are changing. So if I have one of our test bed agents is in Colorado. I have another one in Louisiana. Their markets are totally different. And the way that we are going to work with them is going to be how they can look at the robo agent, and then how that's going to make their life easier in their market. Because I think that's really important. That, one of the things that I'm constantly talking about with my agents is that you got to get on AI. You have to get on it, and you have to train it so that when you talk to AI, which is what we're doing with robo agent, the AI component is all about real estate. And, whether it's how to sell real estate, how to, build your business in real estate and everything. So RoboAgent's going to be one of those programs or apps that we call that's going to touch all the areas of their business, so they can just come in, have one platform. Everything is integrated, so they don't have to keep logging into other programs, because right there is one of the biggest frustrations for agents is they do not want to take the time to, the 30 seconds to do the two-factor authentication. So it's one of those things where what I get excited about on RoboAgent is how it's going to make the agent's daily business life so much easier. And if their business life is easier, their personal side is going to be much better. And so by bringing them everything that they need to know or handle in their daily business, because a lot of agents come into real estate, they've never owned a business. They don't know how to run a business. And this is not something they teach in real estate school. They teach you the fundamentals and they teach you the legal stuff. But when it comes to actually running a business, most of them have no idea. And that is one of the other reasons why when Frank said 80% fail, that's a huge reason, because they don't know what's going on with their finances. They don't know how to communicate with their clients, especially in a technology world. So that's where RoboAgent's going to help them work that through. And so the AI component, which is my favorite thing, is that it's going to help agents be better and be, because a lot of agents are not they're the ones that want to be out in the field talking to the clients. They don't want to be in the office. So we want to make their life so much easier that they can just be excited that, oh, I need to go into my RoboAgent, but it's going to handle everything for me. I just need to kind of guide it. And I think that's where the excitement comes from, is that we're going to have it integrate with so many things to make the agent's life so much better, And
Well,
I've been
that's
doing
exciting.
it for
I mean,
it
that
is.
part right there, you're just talking about, I mean, all of you have brought up all the real world experiences that you've brought to the table, but that you've also witnessed from others in dealing with their professional careers. And of course, Doug, with you, you do that across the span of verticals, whether it's real estate or not, you're agnostic to that. Appreciate everyone's input today. Brian, you just had the opportunity to listen to these amazing professionals that I know you've been working with all along, but in this format and hearing what their input is so far today, tell us a little bit about what your takeaways are from listening to this interview. What did
Yeah,
you gain by their insights?
I'd like to thank everybody for joining. And I think the biggest takeaway is that robo agent success will depend on combining strong technology with real world industry expertise. So having people like Frank, Kim, and Doug involved gives us perspectives from brokerage operations, agent coaching, and sales methodology that are mission critical for adoption and long-term value creation. So we are so grateful to have them part of the team.
Well, thank you so much for popping on, Brian. We appreciate you as well. And I want to thank all of our guests today. Kim, thanks so much for making time. It's a beautiful day out there in beautiful East Texas, and go enjoy it. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. Enjoyed being here.
Doug, it was wonderful to meet you, and I so appreciated hearing from you and your perspective that you brought into this interview, as well as what you've been able to bring the Robo Agent platform. Thanks for your time, Doug.
Likewise. Thanks for having me.
And Frank, you are the Vice President at EXP US Operations. Just the title itself adds so much validity today to what we're discussing and your experience. And we just appreciate everything you've been able to share with us today.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. It's great to be with everybody else on the screen. A lot of talent on the screen.
Yeah, it's been a great interview, and I appreciate all of you, and it's wonderful to have Brian pop in as well. So for Brian, Kim, Frank, and Doug, this is Stuart Smith saying thanks so much for listening.